Welcome to the Women in Digital Dentistry podcast, where we empower through innovation. I'm Allison Lacusier, your host, and each week we'll explore the mindset and the skill set of creating a successful practice and life for women in business. From the latest in dental technology to mastering marketing strategies, creating team synergy, cultivating a powerful money mindset, this podcast is your resource to empower yourself and your team to have the most success possible. Whether you're an established business professional or just beginning your journey, we're here to help you unlock your full potential, lead with confidence, and have an incredible journey along the way. Welcome to the Women in Digital Dentistry podcast. Welcome to another episode of Women in Digital Dentistry. I am here with an incredible woman in our industry who I've had the pleasure of getting to know and see all over North America at so many different events. And we've just had the opportunity and pleasure to get to know each other even deeper. And I got to learn about her passion for supporting women in digital dentistry because she is a woman in digital dentistry. Aditi, welcome to our show. Please introduce yourself to our amazing community.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Allison, for having me and for, letting me share my story with your community, because this is really, really important for me as a very passionate woman in dentistry. I think it's really important for us to be able to share our journeys with and tell these ladies that, you know what, they're not alone.
Yes.
My name is Dr. Aditi Agarwal. I'm a general dentist. I've been in private practice for over 21 years. And it's been a journey. I've been an associate. I am a practice owner. I have two practices currently that I still own and run and work in. And so I still do chairside dentistry and I love it. And also I am the co-founder of a technology company called Practice by Numbers.
Oh my gosh. So good. It's so good to have you here. So one of the reasons like you shared with me, we had this like long conversation. We were at Vanessa Emerson's event and we like met each other in the hallway. Like one of us was like coming and going to the bathroom and we collided and we're like, hi, like tell me about you. I want to talk to you. And we got to share a little bit more of like your journey in dentistry and just like really why you're so passionate to support women. And I would love to dive into that today. Just tell us your journey as you grew going into dentistry, all along the way, and why do you feel it's so important we share these stories and help women?
As a woman, we wear many hats, right? And it's hard to wear a hat and be a woman at the same time because, a lot of these hats that we wear are actually hard hats. And there are many hard hats, back in the day were not made for women. And so we are the trailblazers in our generation, really. Our moms started the path, but we actually dug the trenches. And I am part of that journey. I started my journey in dentistry. I have lived in now 3 countries. I was born in India, but I grew up in the Middle East. I went to dental school in India with some of the amazing women in digital dentistry that are out there. And we had some shared experiences that were incredible. They shaped who I became because it was, when you move at a young age and you have to deal with a lot of different situations, that really makes you grow up fast. And then I also came to the United States as a dentist to pursue more dentistry. And after, going through dental school in the United States all by myself without any friends or family, again in my early 20s, was extremely challenging without having any support. But then I learned to rely on myself. And I learned to lean in on my community. And my community at that time was my fellow classmates, and it was my teachers. And you start to understand that you can't go through this life all by yourself. You are very, very powerful in who you are, right? But your power is multiplied when you lean in.
Oh my gosh, I
And
love that. Oh my gosh, so many things. Like the hard hat that is not meant to be built for women. It's so true. It's so true. The business structure, the templates of being successful in business, like all of these things were never built for women because we weren't in the workforce. And so you're right, we are at the very same time the world is changing and we're changing, we're evolving, we're also paving the path to get there. And it keeps getting repaved and restructured because the world keeps changing. And so I love that that metaphor and that idea around it. It's so true. And something I really feel passionate about, and I'm disrupting, is that, you and I could look at each other and be like, oh, look at that successful woman over there. She's this and she's that. And we give each other all these labels and we assume for whatever reason that we're immune to, or you are immune to struggle or to hardship or to challenges. And that is just not true for anybody. And when we can recognize that we all go through challenges in our lives, and those are the things that give us our character, they give us our resilience, they give us just our personality in many ways, that's how we get to join forces together and be stronger together. So, how do you see us being better at connecting with other women in our industry to like build kind of allyship and to be stronger together?
well, like I had mentioned before, I realized early on that I'm a strong person, but unless and until I lean in, I that strength can only carry me so far,
Yes.
you know. And I am a practice owner. I actually did my first startup in 2010 in a depressed market. And it's I feel like I have made many, 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 many mistakes in my life and in my career. But that's how I learned and that's how I grew. But what I think that now that we have the power of, the internet, and we have the power of communication, which was not as strong back then, because that was just coming up. And because I'm from the era of the dial-up,
Yeah.
and the desktop. So I know the challenges that we face every day because I've lived each and every one of them. And if we can share our wisdom and what we have learned in our growth journeys with the collective women in general, I want to be able to make it easier for them to be able to spend the time with their 2-year-old that I never spent. I want to be able to give them their time back with their families that I never had.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody makes sacrifices. Those are the sacrifices that I made to be where I am, to get to where what I'm doing. And I have, you can never say nobody, there are no regrets. Sometimes there are regrets, but then sometimes I look at my children today and say, wow, I made them independent from a very young age. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. The jury's out. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. And it's interesting. Like there's the mindset around success and there's the tactical strategies around success. And I feel both are so important. And one of my favorite jobs as a coach, and why I believe so strongly in women empowerment. When I say women empowerment, I mean like women being the most expanded version of themselves without fear and knowing that they can accomplish anything, knowing they can create the life that they want to create, and knowing that there are people around them that are going to be able to support them and hold their hands as they rise together and celebrate them. Because I think sometimes as a woman in business, we can often think when we're alone, two, we're the only one that is struggling the way that we're struggling. Three, that other people actually won't celebrate us when we do succeed. because we're afraid. And I think being able to like look at the global or holistic picture of what success looks like and then figure out like what is it that I need in order to have that. And the success that one of my favorite successes that I help people with, and I know you do as well, is making businesses more efficient so that they can take that time off. They can say, I'm not coming into the morning huddle because I'm dropping my kids off at work. I'm not staying until 5 because I'm going to go pick my kids up after work. And that is such a form of success. And yet, we don't know how to do these things until we know how to do these things. And so for you to give back to our community with, hey, like this is what I went through. I want you to not go through the same things. Like that's so powerful. And I think women are so inclined to do that. Like we want to help each other.
Absolutely. We want to help each other. And, don't be afraid to lean on your community. I have done that in the past. When my kids were young and my son was playing soccer and I could not get away from the chair, I would be really stressed out about leaving the chair and having my child waiting to be picked up from soccer practice. And I have been there. I have done that. But you know what? I have leaned on my community. I have leaned on my patients. My patients will step up for me. You give the care to them, and that means you need to be present with your patient when you are talking to them. And in order to be present with your patient at that moment, you need to be relieved of all the stressors in your office. And it's not possible to be relieved of those stressors unless you find ways to empower your team. You cannot empower your teams without the right technologies in place. It is a domino effect. And because I was present with my patients, they were present with me in my time of need. It is as simple as that.
I love that. I absolutely love that. It's so true. And I think, I mean, just working with so many female clinicians and just, I mean, being a woman myself and struggling with this myself, asking for help is so hard. I struggle with it so much. And I'm learning how to put my hand up and say, hey, can you help me with this? Or I need help right now. Or I need support right now. Or can you do this even in my own team? And so I know so many female dentists, entrepreneurs struggle with one, asking for help, two, delegating because we feel bad, like we feel guilty. But the truth is, when we don't ask for help and we don't delegate, we actually take away responsibility. We take away learning. We take away education. We take away experience. And so, kind of going back to your kids being independent when they were growing up, like what you did was give them the gift of independence. And if you would have done everything for them or been around them all the time, they probably wouldn't have had that. And so it is truly a gift that we can give to others when we ask for help or when we delegate or ask them to do something. What has been your like skill or strategy or mindset shift around being able to ask for help, lean on your community, delegate, like really just the goal is to like take some things off of your plate and give them to someone else.
Yeah. And I think, I realized that I didn't have all the answers very early on in owning a practice. I really did. And then that's when I started to lean on my husband first, right? Because you start to lean on your closest person. And I was like, I don't have all the answers. I don't understand why my case acceptance is in the crapper. And why can I not figure this out? What am I doing wrong? And as dentists, we always put the blame on ourselves first, right? And he would always say, I don't know. I mean, but I'm sure the answers are all there. And I would be like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean by the answers are all there, right? And then he said, well, it's in your PMS. I'm sure the numbers will tell you why you're having problems. And I was like, huh. And that's when it kind of started to dawn on me. I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Let's see, data doesn't lie. Let's figure this out. And then, of course, I started to look through my PMS, trying to find an answer, right? And the way our PMSs are set up, that is the practice management system, are set up is that they don't give a lot of the information's very, very jumbled. It's very hard to read. And I was like, I would spend hours after coming back from seeing patients trying to figure out what I need. And one day my husband was like, "Hey, when are we eating dinner? You're still trying to find these numbers." I'm like, "I can't find them. I don't understand." And then, he's an engineer. He looked at, he's like, "Well, okay, I think I can do this for you." Right. I think he was just hungry. So
He's like, come hang out with me. I need some food. I'm tired.
sometimes food is the best motivator.
Yeah,
Who
especially for
thought
men.
practice by numbers came about because of food? No, I'm kidding. So he was like, "Okay, I think I can, let's figure out a way to solve this problem." And he created a spreadsheet for me from those numbers, or from finding out the data. And I was like, I looked at that spreadsheet and I was like, "Oh shoot, I can't understand this. I can't read this." And that's when he's like, "You know what? Okay, you're a visual person. Let me see if I can simplify it for you." And, being the engineer, the person, the mind behind, okay, let's try to simplify this for our user. And he created a dashboard. That's when I was like, "Oh my God, I just don't have enough financing options in my office. That's what I need. That's the solution." And it took me more than a month. I think it was like 2 months that I was sitting and noodling and not losing sleep over not knowing what the heck is going on in my practice. And it was only then that I realized, okay, I need to put this in place so that I can have a solution that will work. And boy, did it work, you know? So that's why it's really important to, lean on technology, or at least learn to use it. And the funny thing is that once I learned to use it and I showed my team how to use it, they started getting motivated, because now I can assign, nobody likes, there was always this big squabble between production and collection, right?
Mm.
Always. Like my front team would be like, "Oh, we collected so much, we get bonus." And our back, or they would say, "Well, we didn't collect because you guys didn't produce enough." So there was always this tussle between the front and the back, that it's this, that it's their problem. And having a solution like practice by numbers enabled me to have tasks that were individualistic. And that's a huge motivator. Now everybody is responsible for their own little piece, and they want to do the best they can in achieving the goals that they have individually. And when you have individual goals and then you have collective goals, right? Those individual goals, when you hit them, there is job satisfaction. Gosh, now nobody leaves my practice. I'm kidding. But I mean, I'm blessed to have a team that loves working for us. And it builds, a good, healthy practice. And they're rewarded based on the job that they do. And there's
Yeah.
no more of this.
Yes. Oh my gosh, 100%. I was like, when I was in the dental office, I was that star performer. Like, I was that team member that everyone wanted to keep because I was so motivated and I was so data driven, and I just love to see growth. And as a coach now, I look at growth and I'm like, okay, like, we're here. Where do you want to go? And then the next question is, how do we measure that? How do we measure where you want to go? And what is the actual true impact of growing in that way? And so we sometimes like throw out these things, these numbers, these metrics that we're like, I want more new patients, I want more production, I want more of this. And the question is like, well, why? Like, why do you want that? Okay, you want to serve more patients, you want to pay your team better, you want to feel less stressed financially, and all of these whys. Okay, great. Now that's the motivation. And then we need to find the tools that are going to help us get there step by step, because all of our big goals need to be broken down into small daily actions collectively that every single person in the practice is doing daily to achieve big results.
Yeah.
And by understanding where we are today, where can we be tomorrow? And then where do we want to be in 3, 5, 10 years? That's how we actually achieve our dreams. Like it's really is down to like the daily actions. And so that's what I love about understanding the data of a practice. That's what I love about understanding how to specifically delegate to people and be able to acknowledge the work that they're doing. Because one of the things that this misconception that's happening right now in dentistry is, oh, people are leaving because they're not getting paid enough. Of course, everyone wants to get paid more. Who doesn't? But most team members leave because they don't feel valued, because we don't even know what they're doing and we don't even know when it's done and we don't even know when they do a great job. And so when we can find small micro ways to help share their wins, acknowledge their wins, support their wins, that's how we see more of it. And so I find it so fundamental to business ownership, to business success, to then being able to leave work early and go and pick up your kids from school. Like it's all combined.
It is the true success, I think, of a person, of an individual. It comes from empowerment. And it
Mm-hmm.
took me uh, more than 15 years to understand that and learn that, because I did that the wrong way, the hard way, the I know it my way or the highway, is for the longest time. And it wasn't until I released some of that hold, almost stranglehold that I had on the practice, that my practice was able to breathe. It
Mm-hmm.
was able to thrive.
100%. And I see this, and sometimes when I first speak to women in dentistry or just anybody in dentistry, that their lack of maybe knowledge or experience around this actually prevents them from starting to ask questions or starting to dive deeper because there's a fear around it. And that's the whole goal with women in digital dentistry is we talk about these things, like having somebody like you who has successfully run a practice, has successfully run a tech company, be able to say, hey, I didn't know what I was doing, but here's how I figured it out. And you can do it faster. That's the true gift of a community like this and of the tools that we can use to really grow and empower our teams and build our practices.
Absolutely. It is a journey. It really is. I've been in it for a very long time, or, at least halfway in it. And it's just the fact is that you don't have to wait 15 years like I did, you know, because we have solved the problems to a large extent. There are a lot of resources now that, when I started out, I didn't have. So I had to stumble through it. But now we don't have to all walk through mud to
Yeah.
find that yellow brick road.
100%. 100%. Oh my
Mm.
gosh. If you could give, let's just say the Aditi of 15 years ago, like top advice, like if you could go back and say, this is what I wish you knew or wish you had, or I wish you thought this way, what would those things be?
It'd be funny. I'm a very spiritual person. So it would be something where there were many, many, many sleepless nights when I was my younger self. And I have to say that there is a solution to a lot of the problems. It is in your mindset. I had a mindset of, I got to do this on my own. And, that whole, uh, we've been brought up in dentistry with this whole mindset of isolation. And we lived in it. I lived it. That was me day in and day out, that I need to be the solver. I need to be the person who fixes everything, including a broken handpiece. I need to know how to do it all. And I wish I could tell that person to go enjoy her youth, because you
Mhm.
don't have to do it all. And when you can't, don't fight it, let it go. The universe will have an answer for you. Let it go.
Mhm. Oh my
And
gosh.
that, I live by it now, today. And I am so thankful that I learned my lesson, even if it is late, because I still have problems, because I'm still a business owner. We still have staff that text at 6 a.m. in the morning. I know you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But the difference now is, instead of me getting up with my heart racing and me yelling at my kids to hurry up and get in the car because I got crap to take care of, I get up and I say, okay, God, you have presented me with this problem today. I'm sure you will present me with a solution. If not, we will have to just reschedule the patients that we can't see today. And you will find me there will be a different day in that schedule that you will find me somebody to help me take care of those patients. Because I know, as a dentist, we all want to take care of our patients. It's really hard when staff members call out. And I know this is one of the biggest problems in dentistry, and that we all sit in that mindset of, oh my God, what am I going to do now? And then that translates into worry. It translates into aggression. It translates into depression. And we communicate those feelings, those energies, with our own bodies, of course, but we also communicate it with the rest of our team members that are there. We communicated with our spouse. We communicated with our children. That's how we become hard to live with. We do. We become really hard people to live with. And I recognize that now. I didn't. For 15 years, I was that person that was hard to live with, because I became this masculine energy that, did I really need to be there? Did I really need to sit in an energy that was not for me?
100%. And the like consequence on your body, on your physical body, when you have years and years like that, it's huge. And it's the thing is, when you look back on it, it's like nothing is worth affecting you in that way. Nothing is worth causing you to feel that way, because you can find those solutions. And so I'm so inspired by this, like the mindset and the energy that you step into things now. And similarly, like sometimes when I'm running my business and I get frustrated with team or frustrated with whatever, I can sense myself going into that, like, again, you called it right, masculine energy of like, let me control this, let me like dictate this, let me get more rigid and be more like difficult and harder on people. But that's not the way that actually we get the best out of anybody, much less ourselves. And there is a different way.
Absolutely, there's a different way. Because once you take on that energy, you become stiff, you become rigid, you become, unapproachable. You start distancing yourself from others. And then you cannot distinguish between who is good and who is bad. And that energy, you don't know, sometimes you hurt your family. You hurt your family members, you hurt your team members, and you don't even know that you do that.
Yeah.
Because you are standing in this rigid, non-flexible, non-adaptive energy. Then including your friends. And then we all wonder as dentists, why do our friends, we have difficulty, besides other dentists, we have difficulty maintaining relationships outside of dentistry. Why? Has anybody ever asked that question?
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good point. And the thing about this is, like, when we're just trying to survive, or when you're just trying to survive inside of your practice, you just do what you know. And yet there are different like ways and different ways to be trained and different mindsets to have, which is why the coaching and the mindset support is so helpful, because it gives you a different path to go down. So I love that you share this so vulnerably. You share this so that others can learn after you and not make the same mistakes. And I think any woman that's listening to this podcast, any woman or man that's listening to this podcast, I know we have incredible men that also listen in on Women in Digital Dentistry. They're going to learn from you and they're going to benefit from this. And so if you have listened to this podcast and it resonates with you, and one, in two ways. One, that you are not super sure of your numbers in your practice and you don't know how to look at them, you don't know how to move the needle on them, and you need to help delegate your teams to specific tasks. Please, please, please click the link below. Go and learn about practice by numbers. It's incredible. It's, as a coach consultant, being able to support practices within using software like this is so powerful. I've seen so much growth in my clients. But also, too, if you resonate with Aditi's message as a mom, as a business owner, as a leader, as a woman in dentistry, as a CEO of a tech company, as all these things that she is, please just reach out to her on social media. Put the links to her pages in below, because she is just an incredible force in our industry and somebody who is definitely leading by example. So thank you, Aditi, for being on this podcast. Thank you for Practice by Numbers for being a founding sponsor for women in digital dentistry to support the women in this community. And thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much, Allison, for giving me this opportunity to be vulnerable with my peers, because it's really important that we uplift each other, not just in business, but in our personal lives as well. So
100%. That is why we are all here, is to live into our greatest human expansion, and our careers are just one part of that. And so let's have the best careers, the best businesses, so that we can do the things that we love and support the people that we love the most. So
absolutely.
Thank you, Aditi. And we will see everyone on the next episode of Women in Digital Dentistry. Please share this with your friends, for anybody that could benefit from hearing these powerful conversations with women leaders in our community. And if you're interested in joining Women in Digital Dentistry, please click on the link below. We are so excited to welcome women into our community to help serve them and grow into the greatest expansion of themselves. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Women in Digital Dentistry. We hope you found today's discussion inspiring and full of actionable insights to help you thrive in your practice and beyond. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss an update. And if you know someone who would benefit from these conversations, please share this podcast with them. We would love to hear your thoughts and feedback, so feel free to leave us a review or connect with us on social media. Together, we are building a powerful community of women leading the way in digital dentistry. Until next time, keep innovating, keep growing, and keep making a difference in the world of dentistry. Thanks for listening.